Pat. Welcome once again.
Hi. Yeah, I know it's been a minute. A lot's happened in the world,
Yeah.
in society.
Yeah. I mean, there's been lots of big changes, big shakeups in the world, but I mean, we're here on a mission. We're here to try to make this world easier to live in, and in interrogating your let's see here, CPTSD, DVD, PS3.
It's really not that complex. I think it's actually pretty straightforward. But I'm not the one with the fancy degree, except when I am. But then I'm on the other side of the couch.
Well, to really get the most out of this kind of therapy, we need to interrogate your fears. What keeps you up at night?
Okay, easy. Number one, that old Scruff McGruff commercial where he just walks into your house.
Oh, I'm not talking about abstract kind of heebie-jeebie mumbo-jumbo paranormal type shit. I'm talking real life stuff.
Like spiders?
Like weapons.
Ah!
Ah! All right, settle down. We're safe here. There's no weapons here, but
Did you say there's weapons here?
no, wait a minute.
Whoa, actually, wait, hold on. Weapons of, like, mass or minor destruction?
Well, they are minors, so it is a little bit problematic.
Okay, yeah. Let's go with minor then. I mean, I don't know. I feel really complicated about weapons, because, it's like, I hear weapons, and I think, like, school shootings, the military, biowarfare. But I also think like weaponize, like, oh, you're weaponizing your feelings, or you're weaponizing our fears, or you're weaponizing our children, or even like, I don't know, you're like weaponizing metaphors. Like the weapons is a metaphor.
And what is it a metaphor for, Jay Bearhat?
Fuck if I know, Jesus.
I mean, at this point, Jesus Christ.
I think that weapons are an image that is all over our society, and that if you start out making a film about weapons, you will eventually, because you can't call it Parasite because that movie came out already.
I already got that one.
You will inevitably hit upon images that speak to a moment in time, even if it's kind of mostly just like about like your friend who died.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff kind of going on under the surface of this movie, which
we're talking about today. Weapons.
We're talking about Weapons, 2025. Zach Cregger. One of the whitest kids you could ever possibly know.
Yeah, honestly, think of the whitest kid, American version, add Canadian to that, white kid.
Yeah.
Even whiter.
Very white. By his own admission. Yeah, we checked it out. I hate to say, I mean, I don't know, I hate to admit how much is kind of under the surface here, because it is a very surface level movie compared to Barbarian, which is why I liked it better than Barbarian.
Yeah. I am one of the people who like Barbarian.
Yeah.
And still, I guess, like Barbarian. But the thing about Barbarian is that Barbarian worked as like a debut film because he tricks you. It's a trick film.
Yeah.
It's like 40 minutes of like a Netflix like trauma horror movie, and then it's like, yoink, just kidding. Scary lady in the basement. But that I don't know really how much that really like works beyond that. It's that movie is a bit too reliant on a specific conversation within the larger like landscape that it came out in.
Yeah, it's trying to say something in a more direct way than Weapons is, I feel. Uh,
Yeah.
and the thing that it's trying to say is kind of stupid. Like,
that perhaps man is the real barbarian.
that like in a gentrification is happening. Nothing to really say about it, but it's occurring in places such as Detroit, Michigan. And also it has like the magical black guy trope in it. And it's I don't know. Barbarian is like kind of an ignorant movie.
That's fair. I think that's a fair way to describe it.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
I do agree with you though. I think the big thing I really liked about Weapons is that it uses, like, for lack of a way to put it, the language of trauma horror to like just tell a horror story.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a metaphor. So is The Blob. You know what The Blob's about? A blob. A big scary blob.
It could mean
like,
a lot.
It could mean a lot. Like, I think that's one of the big problems that a lot of like the what people call elevated trauma horror. I think those are the big problems they have with them, is that like when you get down to, oh, but it's actually a metaphor, you kind of end up realizing that the movie isn't really about what it's about, which is like, then why didn't you just make a movie about what it's about?
Yeah.
Whereas I think horror has always been like metaphors and like unintentional metaphors. I read this thing called like Shock Value recently. It was like this really good book about like the kind of rise of like the new horror in like the 60s going into the slasher era. And like one of the things they talk about it in a lot is that when George A. Romero made Night of the Living Dead, it came out and people were talking about like how politically salient and like smart it was and how much it had to say about society. And he was just like, oh, I wasn't trying to do any of that. I was just making it a scary. I was just like, it'd be scary if there was a dead guy, but he was alive. like it's, and the thing is, it's like, I don't think that means like that reading of the film is wrong. I think that's why the movie resonates with people. I think if you're like a college hippie making a movie in like 61 or whatever, this is gonna be on your mind. And so I don't think it's like insane to do it. I think one of the things we're seeing with Weapons is people are so used to the metaphor being treated as like lore that they're missing that sometimes the metaphor is because it's kind of like a broad metaphor, like it's getting at like a feeling. And so like, yeah, they're working on like, what are fucked up things that I can put in my movie that invoke that feeling. Yeah. And they're going to end up unconsciously drawing from that. Very odd, much better, no shade, whatever, to Zach Krager version of this issue. Famously, all the people in Petscop trying to treat, not people, like the people around Petscop treating it like an ARG in this way of like thinking that the reference to like the Newcastle child abuse case is like the key to solving the puzzle. Yeah. Which like led the creator to be like, I actually kind of like really regret putting that reference in there, because it was more like, you know, I'm drawing on this like evocative like thing. Like this is one of the things that kind of like is evocative to me of like what I'm going for in it. And Newcastle is just like a great term. Like it's like a great little phrase. So I put it in the game, movie, short film, whatever. But then people are like, oh, therefore this is about the Newcastle case. And it's like, nah, it's just there. It's just there for texture.
Well, yeah, I think the kind of ideal use of metaphor is as seasoning and not as like the spine of the whole thing.
Yes.
Which like Petscop definitely does. Like it doesn't feel like, you know, any one thing is the missing piece, you know, the key to the puzzle. It allows itself to be kind of complex and, you know, blooming. And you know, I thought weapons structurally was really really smart in that way, and it got to, it with all of that stuff out of the way, it got to focus on itself and be its own thing, and the like chapter structure of it, I think was really perfectly worked out.
I think a weaker version of it would have made it so much more obsessed about the metaphor of the weapons that it would have done a disservice to the "wouldn't it be fucked up if" plot. Which is like a shame, because like that's a great, like, I remember when I saw the trailer, I was like, that's a great fucking premise for a horror film, because it's like it immediately invokes like real fears and things, you know, and you kind of like culturally understand what that's going to be drawing on.
Yeah.
But also it's like, yeah, hey, if 17 kids in one classroom just got up in the middle of the night at the same time and ran off and no one knows where the fuck they went, that would be fucked up. That would be a fucked up thing to happen. Like, that's the kind of shit that drives people on the internet crazy, because they're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be on TikTok before dusk. It would be It would be enormous. It would be, I mean, and that's, you know,
and by sunset people would be doing the weapons challenge.
Who can run in perfect weapons pose for the longest?
We are hitting the gritty for the 17 lost children of Maybrook.
Oh god.
They'd be putting the weapons run in like Fortnite, and like when you buy it, like 5 cents of every skin goes towards like sending another cop to Maybrook to stand around and harass like homeless people.
Well, I mean, it's not too late for shit like that to happen. They did like promotional screenings where they had children standing at the front of the theater, and then when the like digital clock strikes 2:17, they all do the weapons run out of the theater.
That's so good. I love that.
Love shit like that.
And I think actually to the film, like also to the film's credit, like not just that chapter structure, but the opening and closing narration I like, because it gives this thing, it gives the movie this texture of like a rumor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which leads to my big complaint with the film. And I say this as someone who did like it, and also am saying this as somebody who's saying right now, go see it in theaters. It is so much fun to see it in theaters. But if there's like not like at least 5 or 10 other people there, leave. Because the thing that's great about this movie is people just fucking going apeshit during it.
Yeah.
But my big critique of it is I feel like it explains too much by the end of the film. And I get it. I get that that's kind of like people are going to be pissed if the movie doesn't explain what happened. But it feels like the structure of the film is such that it ends up having to like kill time a lot to avoid giving too much information to reveal what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Which causes it to kind of lack a lot of like good images, like in the first 2 acts. Like the first 2 acts I think are fine about it being about like the small town drama and aftermath of it, but it doesn't, that drama feels so much smaller and less compelling than the like final act. Mm-hmm. That it just made me go like, man, I really wish those first 2 acts like either had more big drama, like weird fucked up character things, or had more weird fucked up horror stuff that does not get explained.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly had its share of kind of images that it didn't bother to kind of justify. So the overly excited level of justification and explanation that kind of takes place in acts like 3 and 4, I don't know, it starts to feel, the mystery starts to get a little sucked out of it. I mean, and I guess it kind of is backed into the corner of doing that based on like, you have to get to that ending. I mean, that ending is just absolutely necessary.
Yeah. No, the ending is incredible. Like, and that's just it. It's like I really love it. It made me realize like how much of the rest of the film was kind of like missing missing scenes of like weird shit happening because of what's happening in the city,
Yeah.
or even just like personal drama that's happening because of what's happening in the city. Like we only really see one parent, and his storyline is pretty like short and to the point.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost could have done without like the cop and the addict character. Like, I know that Zach Cregger is very inspired by Magnolia, and I kind of see that here, and I think he did a more successful version of that than Magnolia necessarily. I'm not very big on Magnolia myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like a character, a horror film kind of cosplaying as like a character drama in certain moments. Where a lot of the characters are like 80s stereotypes.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. And it's like I think it's especially because as much as like that mini narrative is fun to watch,
right?
I feel like that's even where so much of the like, well, we have to explain how these two ended up in the house. And a part of me wonders if like an edit of the film where their storyline is still there, but we mostly see it via them intercepting with other characters. And then when we get to the house and they're in it, you know, we're sort of like, what the fuck? When did they end up in this house?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just kind of being like left, that question just being left there. It's like, what happened? Like, I think the film could have used a lot more of like, well, what happened? Especially, and I think that's honestly because like the opening narration sets up this idea that nobody knows really like the full extent of what happened, but then the film tells us the full extent of what happened.
Right, yeah. Really
long legs happened. Yeah, some long leg shit happened.
Yeah, a lot of people are okay. Your response to this film, and a big response that I've seen, kind of across the board, is that this is better long legs.
Yes.
I think that like Gladys is a much cuntier villain than Nicolas Cage in Long Legs. I think that Gladys is just so. She's very memorable. I will say Zach Cregger has a thing about like, what if a woman's body was horrible?
Yeah.
He's a little obsessed with that, but I you know, what can you do?
I feel like modern horror is obsessed with like, what if an old person was naked? What if a woman's body was weird? And what if a face was destroyed?
When that character, their head exploded in the film, you leaned over to me and you were like, all right, calm down, Ari Aster.
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, it's just like, I had just seen Talk to Me a little bit. Or not Talk to Me, which actually also qualifies, but Bring Her Back. And there's also a bunch of like facial trauma in that movie. So yeah. I've just been like, is this just like, is that just like the like pink goo blood now of our generation? Is like, you know, this is a real horror movie because someone's face gets just destroyed.
Ari Aster has really moved the Overton window on head trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it used to be like you'd have someone like get like their head cut off and it like sail through the air and then everyone would go like, ah, but now it's like, no, you need to have it like, you need to be doing like the bottle scene from Pan's Labyrinth to like every other character.
I'm not signing onto this movie unless one character's head explodes and we see all the viscera. I'm Josh Brolin and that's my writer.
I need to see a character's skull crushed into their brain. I want Mortal Kombat fatalities happening to these characters.
Are you interested in perhaps hearing about or discussing the original casting decisions of this movie? Because it did originally have Pedro Pascal and Brian Tyree Henry.
I was gonna say I had heard about Pedro Pascal originally being in it, which is very funny to think about.
Imagine his lovable ass being like a curmudgeonly dad.
Yeah, like a stalker dad. Who is Brian gonna be?
He was gonna be the like principal of the school in place of Benedict Wong.
Oh, I could see that. I could see him playing that.
Yeah, I think he would do a great job. I think it's kind of awesome that it went to Benedict Wong, though, because Benedict Wong's performance was crazy.
Yeah, no, he was like really good. I wish we got more of him and his little husband. and their fucking matching Mickey Minnie Mouse shirts. Like, the problem is, like, the second I saw that shirt, I went like, uh-oh. Because I recognized it. Because I did not fucking recognize it when he appeared in that in the previous scene. Then I recognized the shirt, and I was like, uh-oh.
Something bad's gonna happen to this Disney gay couple.
Yeah. I hope nothing bad happens to this Disney gay couple.
Uh-oh.
But no, he's great. He's like great at just playing this like principal who's just kind of in like the awkward situation of just like, yeah, I'm aware that like it seems unreasonable to put these expectations on you, but also I'm aware it kind of looks bad. it kind of looks bad that the kids were all in your class. Like,
yeah,
I get that to you, and obviously to me, you know, the weird coincidence, but like, yeah, yeah, parents are gonna be a little weird about that.
It was just your class. I did have to suspend my disbelief a little bit that she wouldn't notice that he took all the name tags off the cubbies.
I had thought about that. I mean, there's you know, it's a film. There's gonna be some plot holes. I had thought about that, and then I thought about it a little bit like more, and I was like, I guess like, to be fair, she saw it like the day before, and so like maybe she noticed and was like, oh, that's weird. And then all the kids went missing, and then like she wasn't in the school for like a month. So I could see it just being like a weird thing that like she never like internalized enough, right?
Right. Yeah. You know, just one of those things. But a little bit of a cinema sin.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. But then I remember it's like, oh yeah, I guess like probably the second she walked in and all the kids in her class weren't there, she probably was like, what's going on? And like probably completely forgot about it if she was going to bring it up, and then like was not in the school for a month, so probably was not thinking about whether or not there were name tags on there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I there's also, I did find out that apparently it's because in the original script, the idea was that it was going to be Valentine's Day. So he would have gotten like cards from all the other kids, and that's what they were going to use. But I think they had to change it. I assume they changed it because they, you know, leaning into the like him getting bullied by other kids thing a little bit meant like, well, his bullies probably wouldn't give him a Valentine's card. So
yeah. Oh, you know, yeah, whatever works. What did you think of the Justin Long checkpoint?
I was like, I screamed. I was like, there he is again.
He's back. He didn't say the F slur this time, so I'm kind of disappointed.
It was so funny because it's literally filmed like a jump scare. Like he gets out of his car and the camera stops with him dead set in the middle, like posed in a way that like you were looking straight onto his face, and you're like, ah! That's just. I'm so glad that like film and like horror is just like fully leaning into the idea of like having an actor themselves appearing in your film be the jump scare. Like we had like 2 Connor O'Malley jump scares.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like we maybe even had a third one. There was something else. God, I feel like there's like some other movies where it's like an actor showing up was itself like a jump scare.
Yeah. I you know, stunt casting, it's good when it hits, and you know, when you don't expect it.
Yeah, it's like a trick casting.
Yeah, a little magic trick for you, the audience. I'm also what also comes to mind right now is the scene where Justine basically has to kill Paul, and she's like peeling his face with a potato peeler for some reason.
Yeah, and then she does it again. Like, maybe it'll work on the second. Like, maybe it'll work the second time.
I remember shouting in the theater, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Okay, we had mentioned theater. I think my outside of the crowd losing it at the final scene, I think my absolute favorite crowd reaction moment was when Archer the dad is looking at the map while driving, and he's like, "What am I looking at?" And someone in the theater just went, "Not the fucking road." Because, like, I found out it was later. They're like, "Yeah, sorry." It's like, that's like a thing that drives me insane when I see movies. Like, if a character's not looking at the road, I'm immediately like, they're gonna fucking crash. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing? Keep your eyes on the fucking road.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, what is there to say about the ending of the film? It's
a masterpiece.
It's mwah, it's bellissimo, so beautiful. It's
obviously spoilers. So if you're thinking about it, go see it, because part of the film is constructed around the slow reveal of it. But we had mentioned this is of the new genre, a long legs like. Mm-hmm. And so our long legs, Gladys, it is revealed that despite everyone's like, no, we investigated the kid, it turns out that it kind of was the kid, mm-hmm. And that he had a weird aunt moved in with him, and then it turns out again Archer was actually dead on. There was a witch. Yeah, he was just wrong. It wasn't the bisexual teacher. It was the witch. It was the other witch.
It wasn't the dyed-haired woke teacher.
It wasn't the SJW teacher teaching their kids about pronouns that made them walk out straight to an informed consent clinic without a parental permission slip. No, it was a real witch. There was moral of the story. There was a witch.
Sometimes there's a witch.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into the thing we were talking about earlier, where it's like a thing that's great about this film is that it's not hung up on the metaphor. Like, Gladys isn't like a metaphor for like school violence or like the culture war or like school shootings or like MAGA or depression. She's like a witch. She's like a witch who shows up.
Yeah. And she's styled incredibly.
Yeah, I love her just like she's very Grey Gardens.
Oh God, yeah.
She's very Grey Gardens in it, which I really like because it works really well for her character of both kind of making her off-putting and unsettling to the audience, but in the film makes her seem more harmless to the people around her.
Right.
Because she just looks like, oh, you're just like an eccentric old lady who like can't do your makeup right and wears like a wig with like the bangs chopped really high. Like it's a really great disguise, so to speak, because I mean, she is clearly just like a weird eccentric lady as well. But even when people are like clearly like with Marcus, like uncomfortable and like getting a sense that there's something about this lady that isn't right, he doesn't view her like as a threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, no, he's like, okay. He's like, oh, maybe this lady is just like more unstable than I thought. But like, definitely did not be like, oh, but she's like a threat to me and my husband.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of people kind of her being a woman kind of colors how and whether people are like threatened by her. I mean, she is the major jump scare for like the first several acts of the film, but like you never really get a good look at her.
Yeah, and it's always lit in a way where it just emphasizes her makeup, which just causes her facial features to look distorted. Like, until you actually see her, like, it's shown in such quick ways that you kind of think she's gonna have, like, sunken in eyes and, like, a big twisted mouth. And then you see her, like, clearly, and it's like, oh no, she just has, like, really sloppily applied makeup and, like, eyeliner.
Yeah, yeah. That's the power of styling.
Yeah. Speaking, God, there's gonna be so many Gladdies this Halloween.
I'm fucking excited. I can't wait for it.
It's such an out of the closet, like, fucking costume. Like, that is such a, like, easy go to, and, like, people are gonna recognize it. I would actually be interested to see how often we see her versus Longlegs.
Longlegs culturally forgotten.
Yeah.
Weapons remembered for its cunty female antagonist.
Well, and also because it's like Weapons is like, or like Longlegs is like, you're probably gonna have to do like a bit more. Like, at the very least, you're gonna have to like wear like a lot more like white face paint.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna go for like the full surged up look.
And like you got to do the bit, you got to do the voice and like sing the Longlegs song, and it's just like so tedious, you know.
If you let me in,
and it could be nice,
or it could be not so nice.
Hey Terry, sing the Longlegs song before we give you a beer.
To that extent too, that's kind of like also like the jump scares with her. Like my problem, with the lack of images is that there's not really that, like, there's some iconic things like the run, the makeup, the floating AR-47 above the house, the weird eyes when they're running. But, like, the tree, I guess, I just was like, I don't know. I was hoping for, like, more of a feeling of a weird conspiracy. Oh, right, but to backtrack to the metaphor thing I was saying, I think the thing I like about it, too, is that, like, there is, like, a pretty easy, obvious metaphorical read of it, which is, regardless if you read it as, like, grief or like school shootings or like the culture war and the like who's changing our kids, it must be the teachers, who's up there, who's abusing our kids, the twist, so to speak, is that like, oh, it's like where the most obvious place you should have looked in the first place was, which is the kid who's didn't disappears like home.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's shown that it's like, yeah, the cops like people, like, some people argue about like if it's like a plot hole. I think it's like, no, that fits with like the kind of gist that the film implies, that the cops say they're taking it really seriously, but like kind of like aren't.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like, one, they only show up to do like a wellness check. And they very clearly don't check very much. And two, it's also like, yeah, no, it's crazy. I'm so sorry. His dad and mom had a stroke right before I showed up. And
right
also,
before all these kids disappeared, they had a stroke. Is it not so crazy?
I know that you've never seen me before, and I'm not giving you any documentation of who I am. But as you can see, his father, who has suspicious facial wounds, can't talk.
Yeah.
Almost as if he's under some sort of influence. Like an influence that might cause, say, 17 children to run out of their home. Like, I'm not saying that not to like pick at the film, but it's like, I think it is very intentional that the film in the final act really reveals that like, there's actually like no reason she should have gotten away with this. Like, she really just did because like the cops weren't really going to look into it. Like, maybe she's got like a little bit of like, you know, like witchcrafty like influence that she's doing.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's really more just that like the cops aren't going to check the domestic situation, even though that is the most obvious place to look, which is like, hey, it's something's clearly going on with the kid who's like didn't disappear. No one's followed up with him in like the past month, even though he's like clearly doing horribly, and nobody's seen his parents, and his windows are like newspapered up.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think a town would kind of notice. I think things would kind of stack up and get a little bit noticed. I don't know. I mean, maybe some suburbs are kind of like that, where you don't really talk to your neighbors, I guess. But
yeah, no, I think it's very much so. Is if you wanted to get into the metaphoric read of the film, is kind of speaking to this like atomized way where like even in this small town where there's this tragedy that like theoretically is bringing everyone together, the reason why nothing was found is because no one's actually talking to each other.
Yeah,
like there's even the reveal with Archer where he's like, oh, I've seen that run before. It was on the Ring camera that, like, also I didn't know that was how the other kids ran until I saw, like, the other one. Which means that, like, okay, so none of the parents have talked to each other about this. Like, none of them have shared, like, hey, was there anything weird about the video? Like, they're all kind of, like, siloed off from each other.
Mm-hmm. There would be a next door group about this fucking ground floor, ground zero.
Which, you know, again, just ties into, like, the other thing about, like, well, yeah, because they're all obsessed with, like, the teacher. Like, he even says, like, they've done, like, digging and investigating into her. Because it's, like, they started at the assumption that it must be her, it can't be anything else. And so they're, like, missing the really obvious clues.
Yeah.
Which, also, great also, like, with the chief, very funny mirroring to Marcus, like, of, like, them being like, no, come on, you can't do that. Or he's just like, where he's like, did you know that she was arrested for a DUI? And she was fired from her previous school for inappropriate relations. And he's just like, with another teacher. Like, it's just like, he's like, yeah, she's a lush, and she clearly is a homewrecker. Not great behavior, but, like, that doesn't make 17 children disappear. That's just her being a woman of problems.
Yeah. You know, that's who doesn't have a DUI as a teacher, you know? Teachers can't be perfect.
I remember at the end of the film, like, as she's, like, walking out and looking at everything, I think it was, like, to you or, like, to Ivy, just, like, leaning over and going, like, man, she went through all that, and she still has to buy her own school supplies. Like, teachers don't, like, watching this movie, like, standing up, like, teachers don't get paid enough. We need to pay teachers more.
Pay our teachers.
I still feel like at one point he really wanted to call the movie Parasites, but he couldn't. Because like, the word parasite is all over the film. The word weapon is not all over the film.
Yeah, they kind of like refer to the cordyceps and like, or not the whatever it is called, the fucking parasite that like affects
The Last
ants.
of Us mushroom. Yeah.
Well, yeah. The thing that The Last of Us mushroom is based off of is referenced in this film.
Yeah, no, like they're watching it like a documentary about it like right before Gladys shows up at their house.
Which almost feels like a red herring, because I feel like a witch taking control of you is very different from like an actual parasite being in your body.
Yeah, I mean, well, because like also like the last lesson that the kids were learning in Justine's class was on parasites. Like the word parasites is written really big on the board when she walks in, and like in the flashback to the day before, like it's there. And she says something about it. I think there's like somebody else who says something about parasites at some point.
It's on the TV at some point.
Yeah, like it's kind of like throughout the film. Like, seems like this is the main theme. I do kind of wonder if like, because like the parasite is really more. I forget. Did you ever see Cuckoo?
Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of like how they're like, oh, she's like a cuckoo bird, and that she like tricks you into raising her baby. I think they're trying to say that Gladys is like a parasite, less so in the like because she's controlling them, and more because of like the reason she controls them is to like feed off them.
Yeah.
Which I do kind of like that the film wasn't really like super clear in like the mechanisms of like how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also kind of like that she doesn't seem like too aware of how like she's just like, it seems like she's like found a thing that really, really worked, and now it's not working, and she like does not know how to troubleshoot it. So she's like, I don't know, like maybe like kids, like give me a bunch of like kids, like maybe that's what I need.
Yeah, it's basically her Wi-Fi. She needs to troubleshoot it. She needs some help.
And it's like she's probably like on like some witch version of like tech support forums, like, and she like finds like a thread where it's like took over my niece and her husband's bodies and made their child take care of them, and it's not really helping me feel any better. Anyone else experiencing this? And then the one other post is, never mind, I figured it out, thread closed. And she's like, fuck.
Dude, which Reddit is popping off?
Which Reddit is popping off? Bro, you are losing karma on Rich Reddit right now. You know what? They should have escalated this even more. Ditch the mini subplot about the drug addict and the cop.
Yeah.
Reddit. There's a Redditor. There's a Redditor who's like obsessed with the case, and he's like, I'm gonna solve it. And he like accidentally kind of does. And like that's how we get to the next thing.
There you go. We need a Redditor protagonist.
Boom. Because then you could have a bunch of weird... I mean, you say that, that's actually, now I think about it, that's like literally the plot of
War of the Worlds?
No, I am gonna watch War of the Worlds. No. Fuck. Horror in High Desert, I think 3? It's either 2 or 3. Because Horror in High Desert 1 is based on that guy who was like, oh, I found a weird cave. And everyone on YouTube was like, no, you didn't. You didn't find a weird cave. Fuck you. And he's like, all right, fine. I'm going to go find the weird cave. And then he just disappeared. And people still don't know where he is.
Is that real?
Yeah, that's like a weird, that's like one of those things that like Redditors are obsessed with. Like, cave guy who disappeared. Kenny Veach.
Kenny Veach.
But yeah, Horror in High Desert is basically like based on that. And then they did like sequels that are about like other things going on, and like one of them involves like a Redditor who's like, oh, I figured out where the thing that he filmed, because it's like a house or something he finds. Like, I figured out where it is and where he disappeared.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's all right. They're an okay found footage series.
Okay.
They're ones where they have a lot of like really good images and scenes as the series goes on. I think it's in the second one. There's like a part like where this woman is like on the side of the road and she's told, you know, like put your hazards on. But then, like, you know, if a car is coming by, you don't see it's my car, like, go and squat, like, in the side brush, you know, for safety. So she, like, calls, and then, like, she sees this car go by, and then it, like, goes back by again, and she, like, crouches down, and then on, like, the third drive-by, when it's going by, its lights illuminate that there's a guy standing in the field with her, like, 10 feet away.
Oh my god.
Like, it's like such a like perfect like fucking like shot. That's what I mean about like there's needed to be more shots like that. Like that scene is just like so fucking perfectly like tense because you think it fakes you out with this car and then it's like, oh, the car reveals that actually there's been like a guy fucking standing there like the entire time.
Creepy. Yeah, I could have done with more genuine scares and maybe a few less jump scares.
Yeah, no, a few less like. I did like that they fuck with you by having the one with Justine where they're just on the ceiling.
Yeah. That
was pretty well.
I mean, the thing about the jump scares is that they got past my enzymes because they were timed in a very specific way to it was like Elden Ring boss timing on the jump scares. Like they just kind of perfect parried you and were unexpected somehow.
Yes, yeah, no, like that's exactly why I think it works, is because it's like they're jump scares, but it's like, you know, the same sort of thing with a lot of the film where it feels like it's playing to an audience. It's like, okay, he knows that you know what the rhythm of a jump scare is, so he like fucks with you on it so that it always comes like right after or right before you expect it to come out normally.
Yeah.
Our big spoiler we did not mention: if you want to see a movie where an old woman who's evil and you have been shown to hate is chased for like 5 minutes by a group of children who then mercilessly, without hesitation, rip her into pieces, Weapons is the movie for you. Yeah. while the audience just fucking cheat, like literally I felt like we were in like a stadium. I felt like a touchdown was just done. Like everyone in the theater was just like, yeah.
Dude, the theater experience of this film is like nothing else. It was really, really good.
Oh yeah, also it's like the metaphor thing and general like image thing. I felt I see where it's drawing from what he has said, his personal stuff with Alex feeding his parents soup. And, you know, like the obvious, like, well, she says they had a stroke, but like how that ties into like, well, when you're young and you end up being like kind of a parent to your parents because of like mental health or physical health issues. I thought it was a little cloying. I felt it came in a little too unevenly for like the tone of the rest of the film. That it just didn't quite hit me the way I would have wanted it to hit me.
Yeah.
Because I felt like otherwise, like the thing about like Alex being terrified of her being like, oh look, I'll have your parents killed. I was like, that scene was great. Like I felt like Alex's actor did like a really good job of playing this kid who's like, you know, smart enough to be like, something's up. I don't trust you. You're lying to me. And knowing when an adult is like not explicitly telling you can't tell people or I'll kill your parents, but is telling you that, right. And just like handling it the way a kid does, which is just like emotionally shutting down and not knowing what to do. I will say that when in this scene when he's feeding them and then his classmates soup, I kept thinking like, oh man, that must have been so fun for the actor to film. Like, imagine you're like a kid and you're like on a studio and like, okay, so for this scene, you're going to be feeding them soup and they can't react. You know, he was flinging that shit.
It's like, train coming into the station. I missed
you know
a little bit.
You know, he was goofing around. Like there's no way the actor wasn't spilling some of that soup on purpose. You give the kid the option to do that? Nah, that's it.
I mean, just imagine this being a kid and getting to shoot the scene at the end where you just get to bust through windows.
Oh yeah, there's like some like the last 2 or 3 kids you can see like they're like laughing. Which is like fine. I imagine that's a really difficult shot to pull off, and like I think there's a reason why you only see for most of that scene like 2 or 3 kids at a time. But yeah, no, like as the 17 of them pour out, you can see like 1 or 2 of them are like clearly like smiles.
Good on you, kids. I hope you had fun.
I guess I will say I do love Zach Gregor tapping into the traditional like horror film thing of being like, when I started working on this movie, you know, I really wanted to just like grieve and like process the like unexpected death of like my good friend. You know, and so like I really hope that comes through. And then you watch the movie and there's a scene where 17 children rip an adult woman into pieces. Like that's just like classic Italian filmmaking where it's like oh I was just thinking, you know, like there's nothing scarier in the world than like a man who will like cook barefoot, and you know I really wanted to say like what could a man like that do, and then you like watch the movie and it's just like a guy with a hook's like killing people, and it's like I don't know what the fuck are you talking about. Not to say I don't see it. I definitely see the like the film grappling with the idea of like the sudden absence of someone and dealing with it. it's just funny how much that was like a part of him talking about and like promoting the film, and then you watch it and you're like, this ended with like a bunch of kids ripping an adult. Like,
I mean, I take it to mean this is a film that Trevor Moore would love, would laugh at, would be very entertained by, would adore his friend's great film. But
honestly, yeah,
it is pretty fucking random.
Yeah, it's honestly, yeah, like it does feel like a great tribute to him. It is very much so like the Whitest Kids You Know, like style of humor, which is like kind of weird to think about how much the last few years have been the like humor to horror pipeline.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I feel like it's all the like post Tim and Eric like taking from David Lynch is like paying it back now, and now a lot of those guys are just making like David Lynch horror.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because there's like some tea about like Jordan Peele basically firing his managers because he lost the bidding war for this movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't blame him. This is like such a Jordan Peele film.
Yeah.
Like, you know, his ass would have been like, that should have been my name on the poster.
I should have produced it. God
it should have been from the. It should have said from the producer of Us up on that poster.
Oh well. Next time, Jordan. Jordan Peele's got that other movie coming out. He'll be fine.
I feel like people are finding their grounding again on like doing, like I said at the start of this, I think even like doing horror with that sort of, for like I put it, elevated aesthetic, but like realizing that like, okay, but a horror film still needs to be about, wouldn't it be fucked up if?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't it be fucked up if there was a Babadook in your house? Yeah. What if the Babadook was a metaphor for depression? No. That's really stupid, actually.
That's way less scary.
That's actually like not scary at all now. That's actually really annoying that you said that.
All right. Well, you know, thanks for coming in and chatting about your fears and your hang-ups with weapons today.
Yeah, no, I really realized that like the problem is I just like hate when people bring their weapons to like a restaurant, or like when you're on like a plane and someone's like weapon won't stop going off, and it's like, God, Jesus, shut it up already.
Get these weapons out of public life.
Like, shouldn't these weapons be in school right now? What's going on here?
Next time I see someone with their kid out in public, I'm just gonna say, put your weapon away, sir.
I've got next time what if someone tries to bring their kid to Pride, I'm just gonna point out one of those like, sorry, this is a no gun zone.
I'm gonna ring my little bell and make them beat their parents to death.
They walk up and they're holding their baby, and I'm like, whoa, watch where you aim that thing. Hey. Oh, one last thing before we go. Absolutely loved her immediately knowing what the fuck was wrong. Like, her just immediately putting everything to going, being like, oh fuck, he knows how to do it. Oh fuck, the kid knows how to do the trick.
Oh yeah, her expression of horror in that moment was one of the funniest fucking things in the world.
Just like going from like top of the world, being like, you can do whatever you want, but I can just switch to a new player body and have them kill you. You hear that?
Y'all hear that?
Y'all hear something?
The stampede up the stairs was fucking awesome. Oh, it's so good.
Also, great use of just like the structure is like you expect that what it's gonna be is that like Archer is now going to try to attack her and kill her, or like the parents are going to try to attack her to kill her. But then it's like, nope, that was the kids. That was the kid stick.